Listen, by the time June 2025 ends, you're going to be kicking yourself if you don't have these 11 grocery items stockpiled. I'm not trying to scare you, but food prices are about to jump another 5% this year. And honestly, that's just the beginning. The UN isn't sugarcoating it anymore. They're flat out saying cereal and corn will start running out next year. And look, I get it. You've heard this stuff before. But here's the thing. This isn't some doomsday prepper fantasy. This is happening right now. Over 345 million people across 79 countries are already facing serious food shortages. Ukraine used to be called the breadbasket of Europe, and, well, we all know how that's going. Plus, you've got droughts hitting major food producers, supply chains that are still a mess from everything that's happened, and now we're looking at potential tariffs that could make imported food way more expensive. So, yeah, if you think your local grocery store is going to have everything you need when things get really tight, you might want to think again. I'm about to give you 11 specific products that every smart person should grab before this summer ends. And trust me, your future self will thank you for watching this video all the way through. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what to buy and why these particular items are about to become gold. Let's dive in. Item 1. Rice, the silent lifesaver. Sitting right there on aisle 5. All right, let's talk about rice. And before you roll your eyes thinking, seriously, rice? Just hang on a second, because what I'm about to tell you might completely change how you look at that boring white grain forever. Picture this. It's March 2025, and Sarah from Wisconsin is standing in her local grocery store. She's looking at empty shelves where the rice used to be. Not low stock, completely empty. The manager tells her they haven't had a rice delivery in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And the crazy part? Sarah never thought twice about rice before. It was just there. But here's what Sarah didn't know, and what most people still don't realize. Global rice supplies are under serious pressure right now. We're not just talking about a little price bump. We're talking about a grain that literally feeds half the planet becoming harder and harder to get. You know what's wild? Rice can last up to 30 years when stored properly. 30 years. That bag you buy today could still be feeding your family in 2055. But here's the kicker. White rice stores way better than brown rice because the oils in brown rice go rancid. Sorry, health nuts, but in survival mode, white rice is your best friend. And listen to this. During the COVID lockdowns, remember how people went crazy buying toilet paper? Well, in Asian countries, they cleaned out the rice. Every single grain. Because they know something we're just starting to figure out. Rice isn't just food, it's security. But here's where it gets really interesting. One adult needs about 300 pounds of rice per year for basic survival. That sounds like a lot, right? But that's only about 65-pound bags. Spread that out over a few months of buying, and you're looking at maybe $15, $20 a month. Less than what most people spend on coffee. And rice isn't just rice anymore, guys. You've got jasmine, basmati, long grain, short grain. Each one stores differently and has different uses. Jasmine rice? Perfect for absorbing flavors from whatever else you've got. Short grain? Gets sticky, so it's filling as heck when you need those calories to stretch. The crazy part is, most Americans have maybe a 1-pound box of rice in their pantry right now. 1 pound. That's like 4 servings. 4 servings between your family and being really, really hungry. So here's what you need to do. And I'm being dead serious about this. Next time you're at the store, grab a 20-pound bag of rice. Not the fancy stuff, just regular long-grain white rice. Store it in a cool, dry place, and boom. You just bought yourself months of food security for less than $25. Trust me on this one. When rice becomes hard to find, and it will, you'll remember this video. Item 2. Dried beans, lentils. All right, let's talk about something that could literally save your life. And I'm not being dramatic here. Dried beans and lentils. Now, I know what you're thinking. Really? Beans? But hear me out, because this is where things get interesting. You know what Navy SEALs and astronauts have in common? They both rely on beans as a primary protein source when everything else goes to hell. And right now, with meat prices expected to skyrocket due to supply chain disruptions, beans are about to become your best friend. Here's something crazy that happened just last month. A family in Oregon got snowed in for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Their power was out, roads were blocked, and you know what kept them alive? A 50-pound bag of black beans and some rice they had in their pantry. The dad posted about it on social media, and it went viral because people couldn't believe how good they looked after basically living off beans and rice for that long. And that's not just luck, that's science. When you combine beans with rice, you're getting what nutritionists call a complete protein. It's got all the amino acids your body needs to survive. I'm talking about the same protein quality you'd get from a steak, but for 50 cents a serving? But here's where it gets really wild. With global supply chain problems hitting livestock feed and transportation, meat is becoming a luxury item. But beans? Beans are still cheap, still available. And honestly, they're sitting there on the grocery store shelves while everyone's fighting over the last packages of ground beef. A 25-pound bag of pinto beans costs about $30 and can feed a family of 4 for over a month. Try doing that with chicken breast. Plus, these things last forever. We're talking 10 to 20 years if you store them right. Your kids could inherit your bean stash and still be eating well. And listen, I used to think beans were boring too. But when you're hungry, really hungry, a bowl of seasoned black beans and rice tastes better than any restaurant meal you've ever had. Trust me on this one. The smart money is already moving on this. Preppers are reporting that bulk bean sections in stores are getting cleaned out faster than usual, and suppliers are starting to notice. Don't wait until everyone else figures this out. Item 3. Canned meats. You know what happened the last time meat processing plants got hit hard? More than 10 million hogs were eliminated from the meat supply chain from April to September 2020. That's right, 10 million. And that created a shortage of about 2 million pounds of meat. That's over 7% of the entire previous year's production gone, just like that. But here's what really keeps me up at night. JBS, the world's biggest meat packer, got hit by a ransomware attack and had to pay cybercriminals $11 million to get things back up and running. Think about that for a second. One cyber attack brought down the world's largest meat supplier. One attack. And now we're heading into 2025 with some seriously concerning news. Global beef supply is expected to decline by 500,000 tons this year. That's a full 1% drop. The United States and Brazil are leading these production declines, and frankly, when the two biggest beef producers are cutting back, you know something's seriously wrong. Look, I'm not trying to scare you, but let me paint you a picture. Remember, when wholesale beef prices shot up 100% in just 1 month during the supply disruptions? Pork went up 50% at the same time. And here's the kicker. Beef and veal prices are expected to increase by another 3.2% in 2025, even though beef supply is declining and expected to be 56 pounds per capita, 1.9% lower than 2023. So while everyone's scrambling to buy fresh meat that might not even be available, smart people are quietly loading up on canned meats. And get this, the canned meat market is projected to grow from $17.27 billion in 2024 to $18.25 billion in 2025. That's a 5.7% jump in just 1 year. You think that's happening by accident? Here's why canned meats are your secret weapon. They're already cooked, so you can literally eat them straight from the can if you have to. No power? No problem. No gas? Doesn't matter. When fresh meat is either gone from the shelves or priced like it's made of gold, you'll have protein that lasts for years sitting right there in your pantry. The smart money is on chicken, beef, tuna, salmon, and Spam. Yeah, I said Spam. Don't knock it till you've tried it fried with some eggs during an emergency. These aren't just backup foods anymore. They're insurance policies. And right now, while everyone's still thinking everything's going to be fine, you can get them at normal prices. Trust me, when fresh meat hits $15 a pound and there's 3 people left in line ahead of you fighting over the last package, You're going to be real glad you stocked up on canned protein when it was still cheap and available. Item 4. Wheat flour. All right, let's talk about wheat and flour. And man, this one's going to blow your mind. So picture this. You walk into your local grocery store tomorrow morning, and the entire baking aisle is just empty. No flour, no bread mix, nothing. Sounds crazy, right? Well, here's the thing that's going to make your stomach drop. Russia and Ukraine grow roughly a fifth of the world's cereal grain. Think about that for a second. 1/5? That's like having 5 pizzas and suddenly losing an entire pizza. Except we're not talking about pizza here. We're talking about the stuff that makes your bread, your pasta, your morning pancakes. And here's where it gets really wild. You know how everyone's been saying, oh, the war will end soon, things will go back to normal? Yeah, well, climate change didn't get that memo. Climate change is reducing wheat crop yields even in places that aren't dealing with bombs and tanks. But wait, it gets worse. You remember when flour was impossible to find during the pandemic? When everyone suddenly became a sourdough baker and shelves were bare for months? Well, that was just people panic buying. This time, we're looking at actual production shortages. Here's something that'll keep you up at night. Hard grains like wheat can be stored properly for 10 to 12 years. You know what that means? The smart money isn't just buying flour for next month's cookies. They're buying wheat that could literally feed their family for a decade. And listen, I'm not saying you need to turn your garage into a grain silo, but think about this. Flour is in everything. Pizza dough, bread, pasta, crackers, cookies, cakes, even some sauces use flour as a thickener. When flour gets scarce, it's not just about missing out on homemade bread. It's about watching the price of literally everything with wheat in it go through the roof. The crazy part? Right now, you can still walk into any grocery store and grab a 5-pound bag of flour for what, $3? But when supply chains really start feeling the squeeze, that same bag could easily cost you $10 or $15, if you can even find it. So here's what you do. Grab at least 25 to 50 pounds of all-purpose flour. Store it in airtight containers, throw in some bay leaves to keep bugs away, and keep it in a cool, dry place. If you want to go hardcore, get some wheat berries and a grain mill. That way you're controlling the whole process. Trust me on this one. When your neighbors are paying premium prices for a loaf of bread that used to cost $2, you'll be sitting pretty with your stockpile, making fresh bread whenever you want. And honestly, that feeling of food security, it's priceless. Item 5. Salt. Here's the thing about salt that most people don't get, and it's gonna blow your mind. You know what happened just last week? The largest salt mine in America had to ship out 2.1 million tons of salt in just the first part of this winter. That's more than they shipped in all of 2024. And they're running 24/7s, working through holidays, just trying to keep up. But here's the crazy part. This isn't just about icy roads. Let me tell you a story that'll change how you think about salt forever. Picture this. It's 1847, and people are literally dying during the California gold rush. But it wasn't the dangerous mines or the harsh weather that killed most of them. It was something so simple, so basic, that we take it for granted today. They ran out of salt. See, without salt, your body can't hold on to water. Salt contains 2 essential electrolytes, sodium and chloride. And when you're low on these, you'll feel brain fog, muscle cramps, headaches, and extreme fatigue. Those gold miners? They were literally dehydrating from the inside out, even when they had water to drink. And here's what's really wild. Just a tiny pinch of salt in your water, not enough to even taste, can boost your hydration by helping your cells actually absorb the water. It's like turning regular water into premium fuel for your body. But we're not just talking about staying hydrated here. Salt is your ultimate survival insurance policy. Why? Because it never goes bad. Ever. For thousands of years, humans have used salt to preserve meat and fish, making food last through lean seasons when the difference between having food and not having food was literally life or death. And listen to this. While everyone's focused on fancy, freeze-dried foods that cost a fortune, salt is sitting there for like $2, ready to preserve whatever protein you can get your hands on. You could take a fresh fish, cover it in salt, and it'll be good to eat months later. Try doing that with your expensive survival bars. Salt works by reducing the water activity in foods. Basically, it sucks out the moisture that bacteria need to survive. It's like creating a hostile environment for anything that wants to spoil your food. Nature's own preservative system. But here's what really gets me fired up about this. Right now, while we're dealing with these supply chain issues, there's already salt shortages hitting the Northeast. And when people start panic buying, what do you think happens to the price of something that's essential for both survival and food preservation? Look, you don't need some fancy Himalayan pink stuff that costs $10 a pound. Regular iodized salt from the grocery store? That's your gold mine right there. Get the big containers, store them somewhere dry, and you've got decades of insurance for pennies on the dollar. Your body literally cannot function without sodium. It's the most abundant electrolyte in your system, and it's essential for your cells to absorb nutrients and maintain fluid balance. When things get tough, when food gets scarce, when you're stressed and your body needs extra support, salt isn't just helpful, it's absolutely critical. So here's what you do. Grab several large containers of iodized salt next time you're at the store. Store them properly, and you've just invested in something that will never spoil, can preserve any food you find, keeps your body functioning at peak performance, and costs almost nothing. Trust me, when everyone else is fighting over expensive survival gear, you'll be sitting pretty with your $2 insurance policy that our ancestors knew was more valuable than gold. Item 6. Vegetable oils. Okay, here's something that's going to blow your mind, and probably make you mad when you realize what's been happening behind the scenes. You know how cooking oil prices have been all over the place lately? Well, buckle up, because it's about to get a whole lot worse. Canada, which is literally the world's leading producer of canola oil, had a terrible crop yield last year. We're talking about a massive shortage here. But wait, it gets worse. South America got hit with a brutal drought that destroyed their soybean crops. So now we've got two major oil sources basically wiped out, and here's the kicker. Most people have no clue this is happening. I was at the store last week and I watched this lady grab one tiny bottle of olive oil and complain about the $8 price tag. $8. That same bottle was like $4 just a year ago. And honestly, she should have bought 5 bottles right then and there. Look, cooking oil isn't just for frying chicken. You need it for everything. Baking, sautéing, even making salad dressing. Without it, your food options become pretty limited, pretty fast. Plus, vegetable oil has a decent shelf life if you store it right. We're talking about 2-3 years in a cool, dark place. My advice? Go grab at least 3-4 bottles of whatever oil you normally use. Canola, vegetable, olive oil. Whatever. Because when the supply really tightens up later this year, you're going to be paying premium prices. If you can even find it. Item 7. Canned vegetables. Here's something that might surprise you. Canned vegetables are actually going to save your life in more ways than one. I know. You're probably thinking, canned veggies are gross. Trust me, I used to think the same thing. But here's what changed my mind completely. During the pandemic, remember how fresh produce sections looked like they'd been hit by locusts? Empty shelves everywhere, but you know what was still sitting there? Rows and rows of canned vegetables that nobody wanted. Those smart enough to grab them were eating nutritious meals while everyone else was fighting over the last wilted lettuce. And here's the thing about nutrition that most people don't realize. During a crisis, your body actually needs more nutrients to deal with stress and uncertainty. You can't just live on rice and beans and expect to feel good or think clearly. Your brain needs vitamins, your immune system needs antioxidants, and your energy levels need consistent nutrition. Canned vegetables are shelf-stable for literally years. I'm talking about 2-5 years if stored properly. They're already cooked, so you can eat them straight from the can if you have to. And nutritionally, they're way better than you think. Sometimes even better than fresh produce that's been sitting in trucks and stores for weeks. Stock up on green beans, corn, carrots, spinach, and mixed vegetables. Get the ones with no added salt if you can. Your future self, And your immune system will thank you when everyone else is getting sick from poor nutrition. Item 8. Powdered milk. This one's going to hit different, especially if you've got kids or you're someone who actually cares about bone health. So here's a story that'll probably make you think twice about powdered milk. My neighbor, she's got 3 kids, and during one of those supply shortages we had, she couldn't find regular milk anywhere. Anywhere. The dairy section was completely cleaned out for like 2 weeks straight. But guess what she had in her pantry? 2 big containers of powdered milk that she'd bought months earlier. While other parents were driving store to store looking for milk, her kids were having cereal, she was making pancakes, and life was pretty much normal. Here's what most people don't realize about powdered milk. It's not just a backup for your coffee. This stuff is loaded with calcium and vitamin D, which are absolutely crucial for bone health and immune function. During emergencies, when stress levels are through the roof, your body burns through nutrients faster than normal. And the shelf life? We're talking about 1-2 years if stored properly. Some brands even last longer. Compare that to regular milk that goes bad in a week, and it's kind of a no-brainer. Plus, here's something cool. You can use powdered milk for baking, making yogurt, even adding extra protein to smoothies or soups. It's way more versatile than people think. Look, I'm not saying it tastes exactly like fresh milk, but when you're looking at empty dairy shelves or paying $6 for a gallon of milk, that powdered stuff starts looking pretty smart. Grab at least 1 big container, store it in a cool, dry place, and rotate it every year or so. Your bones and your wallet will thank you. Item 9. Sugar and honey. Okay, number 9 is going to surprise you. Sugar and honey. And before you roll your eyes thinking, oh great, another person telling me to hoard candy, hear me out because this is actually genius. So here's what's happening right now that most people don't know about. India, which is the world's 2nd largest sugar producer, has banned sugar exports for the 2nd year in a row. They literally said, nope, we're keeping all our sugar for ourselves. And Brazil, the top sugar producer, they're dealing with drought conditions that have seriously hurt their sugar yields. But here's the thing. Sugar isn't just about making your coffee taste good. This stuff is like liquid energy when your body needs it most. During high-stress situations, like when you're wondering if the grocery stores are going to restock, your body burns through energy like crazy. Sugar gives you that instant fuel. And honey? Dude, honey is practically immortal. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old, and it's still perfectly good. It never goes bad if you store it right. Plus, it's got antibacterial properties, so it's like having medicine and food rolled into one. But here's the real kicker. Both sugar and honey are incredible for food preservation. You can make jams, preserve fruits, cure meats. Our grandparents knew this stuff. When you don't have a refrigerator, sugar becomes your best friend for making food last months longer. Item 10. Coffee and tea. Number 10 might seem like a luxury, but trust me, it's not. Coffee and tea, and right now, if you're a coffee person, you need to pay attention because things are getting ugly fast. Both Brazil and Colombia have been hit with serious weather disruptions that are causing coffee shortages and price spikes around the world. Brazil produces about 1/3 of the world's coffee, and when they're having problems, we all feel it. Coffee prices have already been climbing, and it's only going to get worse. But here's what people don't think about. Coffee and tea aren't just about that morning caffeine fix. When everything else is going sideways, having that familiar ritual, that hot cup of something that tastes normal, it's like a mental reset button. It keeps you sane. I remember talking to my buddy who went through Hurricane Katrina, and you know what he said was one of the hardest parts? Not having his morning coffee. Sounds silly, but when your whole world is upside down, these little normal things become huge. Plus, caffeine actually helps you think clearer and stay alert when you need to make important decisions. And if you've got loose tea or coffee beans, you can use them for trade. People will literally give you food for a decent cup of coffee when times get tough. Pro tip. Get the instant stuff too, even if you normally hate it. When you can't brew a proper cup, instant coffee with some hot water is going to taste like heaven. Item 11. High energy bars and nuts. your portable powerhouse. And finally, number 11, high-energy bars and nuts. This is your insurance policy that fits in your pocket. Look, nuts are like nature's perfect survival food. They're packed with healthy fats and protein, they don't need refrigeration, and properly stored nuts can stay fresh for 6 months or longer. Almonds, peanuts, walnuts. They're basically concentrated calories that your body can actually use. And energy bars? Get the good ones, not the candy bar knockoffs. Look for bars with 16 grams of whole grain per serving and minimal added sugars. These things are designed to keep you going when you don't have time to cook a full meal. Here's a story that'll stick with you. During the Texas freeze in 2021, my neighbor's power was out for 5 days. No heat, no way to cook, grocery stores were closed. But she had a stash of trail mix and protein bars in her pantry. While other people were literally melting snow for water and eating cold canned beans, she was getting proper nutrition and energy. The beauty of nuts and energy bars is they travel with you. If you have to leave your house quickly, you can grab a handful and know you've got calories that'll keep your brain working and your energy up for hours. And here's something most people don't think about. Nuts are amazing for bartering. People recognize their value immediately. A bag of almonds or cashews can be worth its weight in gold when fresh food is scarce. Stock up on variety packs so you don't get sick of eating the same thing. Trust me, when you're stressed and everything tastes like cardboard, having different flavors makes a huge difference for your mental health. The bottom line? These aren't just snacks. They're concentrated survival fuel that takes up almost no space and lasts forever. Get them now, before everyone else figures out how valuable they really are. All right, listen up, because this part is crucial. Having all this food won't mean squat if you store it wrong and it goes bad on you. First thing, the gold standard for dry goods is Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers stored in sealed buckets. Sounds fancy, but you can get this stuff cheap online. The Mylar blocks light and moisture. Oxygen absorbers prevent bugs and spoilage, and the buckets keep everything airtight. But here's the thing, most people mess up. Rotation. You gotta use what you store and store what you use. I label everything with dates and keep the older stuff in front. It's like running a mini grocery store in your pantry. And space? Think vertical, not horizontal. Those 5-gallon food-grade buckets stack perfectly, and you can fit a surprising amount in a small closet. Under beds, behind couches, in basements. You'd be amazed how much you can store without your house looking like a bunker. Pro tip: keep a simple inventory list on your phone. When you use something, mark it down. When you buy something, add it. Takes 2 seconds, but saves you from buying duplicates or running out of essentials. Look, we're already halfway through 2025 and June is flying by. Every week you wait, these prices are going to get worse and availability is going to get sketchy. Here's what I want you to do right now. Don't try to buy everything at once. That's how you blow your budget and get overwhelmed. Pick just 2 or 3 items from this list this week. Maybe start with rice and canned meat since those are basics everyone can use. Next week, grab 2 or 3 more items. Before you know it, you'll have a solid foundation that'll carry you through whatever comes next. And hey, if this video helped you out, smash that subscribe button because I'm constantly researching what's coming down the pipeline. With tariff threats, ongoing supply chain issues, and climate problems getting worse, this stuff isn't going away anytime soon. Drop a comment and let me know which items you're prioritizing first. Are you team rice and beans, or are you going straight for the coffee stockpile? I read every single comment and I love hearing your strategies. Stay prepared, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next one.